Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Dash. And I want to say Shalom, Dr. Malkwat out there, doing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And I don't really have a title for this one. It might just be titled, Is There a Rudeness Crisis in Babylon? Something along those lines. Really impromptu lesson here. Did not plan this one at all. Was actually going to think about other topics, but this came up just a couple minutes ago on my YouTube, and I went ahead and started watching it. I said, this is good enough for a topic to talk about, because this is something probably a lot of people have been seeing, especially live in the cities, and I want to talk about it, explain it a little bit more. All right, and why it is that it is going on the way it is. All right, and not that it's, some of it's justifiable, some of it's really not. It's just a product of the time that we're living in right now, really. And I'll go into that, explain that, because I've talked about this with my wife quite frequently as well, about how people are rude and how they do certain things, untrustworthy, and it's different on the East Coast and the West Coast. It really is. So the things we go through over here on the West Coast, you might not go over there on the East Coast. Things you going on the East Coast, we might not be having going on in the West Coast. So everybody acts a little bit differently. But regardless, I wanted to play this, talk on it a little bit, grab some scriptures, and Lord willing, some edification will come out from it. So without any further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play this. This is from ABC News, titled, Is There a Rudeness Crisis in America? So let me go ahead and full screen it, and I'll go ahead and let it rip. Here we go.
Seems to point the finger at each other, but according to a new survey, kids these days are getting more rude and are more unapologetic. According to the Pew Research Center, 47% of U.S. adults recently surveyed say that the way people behave in public these days is ruder than before the COVID-19 pandemic. Researchers looked at a variety of behaviors in social settings, like taking a photo or video of someone without their permission, displaying profanity, smoking, or playing music around others, or bringing a child into a place typically for adults. So are we in a crisis of
And it's just manufactured outrage, because all those things have been going on forever. All right, forever. Okay, for example, taking when he said taking a photo or video without someone's permission. As someone who occasionally indulges in street photography, all right, in the most circumspect way you can go look at street photography and find out what street photography is. Street photography is photography conducted for art or inquiry that features unmediated chance encounters and random incidences within public spaces or places. Same thing. It usually has the aim of capturing images as a decisive or poignant moment. By careful framing and timing, street photography overlaps widely with candid photography, which is, you can go and look at that. It says, although the latter can be used in other settings such as portrait photography or event photography, and candids are, snap shooting is photography captured without creating a posed appearance. Candid photography captures natural expressions and moments that might not be possible to reproduce in a studio or posed photo shoot. This type of photography is most often used to capture people in their natural state without them noticing the camera. So when I do, street photography, it's usually them not noticing the camera. Sometimes they do notice the camera. But there's a couple tricks about doing it. I think it was, I don't know if it was Bruce Gilgen or it might have been another guy. You when you have the camera up, you're not looking at them, you're looking at something in the distance, right? So that at the end of the day, they look at you, but they don't really think you're taking a photo of them. They think you're taking a photo of a building in the distance or something in the distance, and you look through them, you look past them when you take the photo. Hard to explain, but that's the most smart way to do it. You got to be careful with it, because some people get pissed. I haven't had that example, but then again, I'm very careful. All right, being in this truth, you got to be circumspect. So, but yeah, this has been going on. This is a Ruff's Dog Show from 1968. All right, and you can just look at just pictures of random people being taken. And you can go look up when did candid photography start becoming a thing. Says started in the late 1920s and 1930s. So that's just manufactured outrage. If you're saying, taking photos and videos of people, that's been going on since the 1920s and 1930s. And a matter of fact, it was probably more prominent than ever. All right, photography in itself is, you know, kind of a dying thing, in a way. And I know it sounds crazy to say it like that, but really, you have portrait photographers and landscape photographers, but a lot of the other forms of photography are kind of dying out. You don't see a lot of it's more niche. Okay, street photography is very niche. A lot of people are afraid of it. They're scared of it. So a lot of and now we're in a time where street photography is probably has some of the most interesting shit going on with all the weirdos on the street. But and then they said, what else did they say? They said some other things. Go back.
Profanity, smoking, or of someone without their permission.
Wait.
Behaviors in social settings, like taking a photo or video of someone without
Already talked about that. That's manufactured outrage.
their permission, displaying profanity, smoking, or
Smoking in public has been prominent for fucking ever, and smoking in public was more, again, another thing that was more prominent back in the day. I don't see that many people smoking cigarettes. All right, as a prior cigarette smoker, I used to smoke cigarettes everywhere, and everyone else used to smoke cigarettes everywhere. I used to see them. All right, used to be able to bum cigarettes from someone. Now you don't really see that many people smoking out there. Okay, I see occasionally people hitting their vapes, occasionally, but it's not like back in 2005 where you saw. I don't even really see the ashtrays anymore, man. The only time I really see people smoking ever, all right, is that because I live in Vegas, is when I go into a casino. That's pretty much the only time I ever see anybody smoking, right? I don't see them standing on the side of the road smoking or out in front of a store smoking like I used to see. I don't really see none of that anymore. So that's manufactured outrage. What else? Oh, profanity. Profanity's always existed. What are you talking about?
playing music around others or bringing a child into a place typically for adults.
Yeah, and children, little babies in movie theaters has been a thing as long as I've been around. Okay, so and yes, there are more kids being rude these days, but it's more in other ways. They act more, aggressive. All right, they'll try to punk you, or they're more entitled. All right, they're like, "Yo, let us in." It's like, I can't let you in here. Just fucking let us in, bro. Why you got to be doing all this shit, bro? Just let us in. All right, they do that, and it's just hood culture that's really boomed. You got little white kids that are doing it too, and they're from the suburbs. Okay, so that's where it's at. It's not that people have gotten more vulgar. Okay, no. I mean, if you want to go back to the most vulgar decade, the 80s will probably be that. Hey, motherfucker, what's up, bro? Fucking bitch. Yo, bitch, what's up, bitch? Fuck you, bitch. Fucking cocksucker, motherfucker. All that. So 80s is probably, bitch was a term of endearment. What's up, bitch? All right? So, yeah, 80s was probably where that was at. And people outraged then. People outraged in the 90s. So a lot of this is manufactured. But, yes, people are getting generally more rude, and not because of taking photos or videos without people's permission or playing music out. That's really small things. It's more so you hold the door open for someone and they'll scoff at you or give you the fucking look, all right, which it happened in the past, but it doesn't, and now it happens way more. Okay, and because of that, you're gonna have some domino effect. All right, for example, I rarely even hold the door open for people anymore. I might hold it open for a split second just so they can grab it, but that's it. Occasionally, right? Occasionally I'll hold the door, but it's got to be in the right setting. Got to be in the right setting because a lot of people have an issue with it. Okay? For example, I'll give you more examples. I rarely say excuse me anymore these days. And you say, well, that sounds rude. Well, you got to think about it. It's different places, all right? Because, my wife will be like, oh, yeah, in the East Coast, you say please and excuse me. Yeah, we used to say please and excuse me here, but the problem is that now saying please and excuse me is an insult, right? Every time I say, oh, excuse me, they'll be like, you're excused, or they'll say something, and they'll give you this little fucking sly-ass comment, or they'll act like you're kicking them out of their spot. And really, that's what I told my wife. I said, excuse me is really just a more polite way to say, hey, get the fuck out of my way, right? That's the really polite way. But nowadays, it's, you say, oh, excuse me, and people look at you like you just told them, hey, fuck off, you asshole, or something like that, and they'll get mad because you said excuse me. So, and they get less mad if you just weasel your way past them, right? So, and in lieu of causing as least conflict as possible, I don't really say excuse me anymore, because now you might as well be telling them to go fuck themselves. That's what they act like. Excuse me, like, you're excused. Go ahead. All right, go ahead. All right, then they'll get all mad. So yeah, no. And so they've been rude in that regard. People have gotten more entitled. They think that they own an area of the store. Like, you can't walk out in front of them, or, something like, look, it's a shopping center, okay? You don't own the fucking cereal aisle. Nothing like that happens. All right, I need to get by. I'm gonna either get by. If I squeeze by, you're gonna get upset because I didn't say excuse me. If I say excuse me, you're gonna get upset because now you feel like you're being pushed out of your way. All right? People have gotten more just stupid. All right, there's really a stupidness crisis in America, but on top of that stupidity, it's not so much as just rudeness, but it's an entitlement crisis. People feel more entitled, right? And that's where the rudeness comes from. They feel entitled that you should have to help them with this. They feel entitled that they should be in this area and that you shouldn't have to even come by. They feel entitled that they can play their music, all right, however they want. It's an entitlement issue. It's not necessarily a rudeness issue. And it translates into rudeness, but that's the thing. There's for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. All right, remember learning that in science. So if you have people that are more entitled in doing this, and you say, "Oh, excuse me," and they get mad, now you have people that are less likely to say excuse me, such as myself, because every time I say excuse me, so unless it's an older generation, the older generation, they get excuse me, all right, but the younger generation, you say excuse me, they get pissed off. So I'm not going to say excuse me to the younger generation. Just why? So I can piss them off? I'm not trying to piss people off, right? I'm trying to do my shopping. So I'll go down a different aisle if I have to, or what I usually do is I just walk past them, all right? And they can move out the way, all right? Is how it usually does. They usually get it. And it's different in a big city than it would be in a small town. It's just different. You just got to know how to move, man. You just got to, but yes, people have gotten weird. All right, I wouldn't necessarily call it just rudeness. Yes, people are rude, but then again, I'm living in Nevada, which ranked top number 1 as rudest state, I believe, under New York, I believe. I think it was actually number 2, New York, and then Nevada. And you got to realize, a lot of us, man, people think we're rude, but it's just that we're fed up. All right, it's just that we're fed up because you be nice for such amount of time, and then if people are gonna start treating you like you're rude because you're nice. All right, and they'll treat you nice if you're rude, then you're just going to be rude because it causes less issues, right? If it's going to cause you less issues, just walk past someone instead of saying, excuse me, then just walk past them, all right? So, and people's minds are all fucked up these days. They think they're entitled to an area that, it's just, there's a lot, man. I could go on explaining it there's so many different issues with people, right? So many different issues with people. It's insane, right? It really is. And people have gotten dumber, all right? There's definitely been a stupidity crisis on the rise since the 2019. I won't say the word for it, but the 2019 thing that happened. And that's just due to 5 years of a lack of socialization, right? These people forgot how to speak to people, forgot how to move, all right, forgot to share spaces, okay? So, but it was rude before. It was rude before. America's always been rude. It's been full of a bunch of rude-ass fucking people. That's how it's always been. Okay, let's continue on.
So are we in a crisis of rudeness? That's what Ali Volpe, correspondent at Vox, dove into recently. Ali, it's great to have you. So based on your research here and your reporting and the experts you spoke with, what's driving this rise in rudeness in younger generations?
And that's the other thing. You see ABC talking about younger generations, which every the people born in 1920 thought the people in 1930 were rude. The people in 1930 thought the people in 1940 were rude. People born in 1940 thought the people in 1950 were rude. People born in 1950 thought the people in 1960 were rude, and so on and so forth. They always think it's the ruder generation. But the one thing I can tell you is with the older generation is that they're one of the most ruder fucks that are out there. All right, the baby boomers and whatnot. But then they'll act like they'll be like, you need to scan me up right now. I've been waiting. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I was out cleaning. Well, can't they hire someone else? Well, they can hire an extra person for cleaning, but they don't. Why? Because they don't want to pay an extra person. They want to save money. I'm sorry. I'm not the company. That's how they want to do it. Unfortunately, ma'am. Well, they need to just hire more people. Because you weren't up here. You're not even helping people. Well, look, unfortunately, ma'am, I have to clean and I have to be up here at the same time because they only want to put one person on the shift. So unfortunately, I'm stuck between doing two things. And I can't always be up here at the same time because I have to clean. And they'll be like, well, you need to be nicer. It's like, well, you need to fucking stop being such a fucking cunt, don't you? But they don't understand that. And they'll slap something on the counter or they'll do, I need this, right? Give me this. Or ring me up. Like, please? ring me up, please. Can I please get this item? Right? And they, no, you generations are you're so rude. You're so rude. And it's like, no, you guys are the most entitled fucking generation, all right? The baby boomers, they got everything handed to them, all right? And then you hoarded all of the wealth, all right, hoarded all of the homes, and then complain that ain't nobody else. You can't just get a home. Well, you got fucking 3 of them, okay? So fuck off with your rude ass, okay? So that's where you get it. You have the older generations calling the younger generations rude, when the baby boomers are some of the most rude fucking people. They'll come up huffing and puffing. I couldn't find any help out on the floor. Like, oh, I'm very sorry. Why didn't you? I'm like, I just stand up here, ma'am. I can't go and I'm sorry that you couldn't find anybody. Who's your manager? Me. And they'll be like, oh, so you're the man. Oh, this is what they're hiring. Give me your number. Give me the number for corporate. That's rude. Rude, entitled people. Those are the entitled people. Those are the people you really need to be watching out for. All right, because the older generation, yeah, these young Gen Z kids, yeah, they're pretty fucking rude. But I don't think anyone's ever ruder than the baby boomers. All right, they are some of the rudest fucking people. They have memes about how rude these people are, huffing and puffing. They don't get their way. They will literally throw a fit like a toddler. All right, they will call the police on you because you could not sell them a slice of pizza or something. Right? Something stupid, man. Something stupid. So that's you want to get into rudeness crisis. It's been happened. All right, it's been happened for a long time.
Right. I mean, it's almost a comfort to know that every generation thinks the one that follows it is a bit more rude. I talked to an etiquette expert who comes from a long line of etiquette experts, and for 5 generations, this question keeps popping up and popping up. But I think what we're seeing now is technology. It's everywhere. Screens are everywhere. There's always something that is wanting our attention, and we're giving those screens our attention, and so we're not really paying attention or engaging with the people around us. We might not be paying attention to how we're treating other people, and I think that's what's really driving a supposed rise in rudeness these days.
So here's something I heard recently, that this etiquette maven, what exactly is that? What qualifies them to tell us which generation is ruder than the other?
And honestly, you're gonna have more violent people of now, but this is probably one of the most accepting generations ever. You got to realize, like, kids ain't getting bullied like that, right? And you're so, yeah, no, they're not. I've talked to people that are in school that have come to my job. I've talked to my little cousins. Bullying doesn't really happen much. It happens occasionally. Like it's not, you're not gonna ever get rid of it, but it doesn't happen as much as like I was at school. The schools have really cracked down, and there's too many shootings, right? There's too many fucking shootings. So when I was in school, you could whap someone upside the head. You might get a talking to by the principal. You might get suspended for like a day, all right? Probably just get in-school suspension, but that's it, all right? And you could have someone bullying, and then you could go to the teacher, and they'd never do anything about it, right? They never do anything about it. So, but now there isn't much of that anymore, all right? Back when I was, you say, hey, you fucking faggot. Now you'll get expelled probably for that. Right? Can't do anything like that. So, kids are allowed to be gay. They have gay pride fest in the school. So it's more tolerant than probably ever. Right? So, but ruder, I don't know. It depends. It depends. A lot of people are rude because they're fed up. Okay? They're fed up of all the arbitrary rules that have been put on everything and, the state of the world. Okay? That's why people would be getting ruder. And you'd really have to explain what you mean by rude. Okay, have people got more violent? Yes, that's just through prophecy, right? But ruder, I mean, it just depends on what you want to really think about what rude is, okay? Because it's been rude since at least the baby boomer generation, and they were born in the 1950s and all. So just think.
Absolutely. So Emily Post in the 1920s wrote the first edition of her book Etiquette. And as you can imagine, things were a little bit different. She came of age in the Gilded Age, and there was a lot of social rules and social norms. So a lot of it was, who women were allowed to walk on the street with, and where to put your fork and knife, and how to invite people to weddings. And from Emily, she's had a generation of family members, followed in her lead and run the Emily Post Institute. So these days, Lizzie, the expert I spoke to, doesn't really talk so much about where to put your fork and knife, but how to treat people with respect. And that's the really important thing about the term etiquette, because it can evoke that really stuff.
And it has changed. Back in the day, you'd be considered very rude if you put your fork and knife somewhere where it shouldn't belong. So it's very, that's what I'm saying. Rude is just it's a very, what do you mean by rude? Okay, because every generation has a new definition of it. You got to realize the baby boomer generation tried to stop the word hey from coming out. All right, you'd say hey, they'd say hey's for horses. All right, so stop saying hey. Now you say hey, how are you doing? All right, now it used to have to be hello, greeting, how are you doing, madame? Right now it's, hey, how are you doing today? But back then people would get mad because you said hey, how are you doing? Right? Hey is for horses. So it's different now.
The old-timey thinking, but really it's about how are my actions impacting other people.
Yeah, I have 2 girls in middle school. We have these conversations all the time. I feel like they're giving me the Gen Z stare right now, just in this conversation, the eye roll. So what are some of the broader consequences, though, of Americans losing their manners?
Right. I mean, when you see something rude, it impacts your mood, it impacts your behavior. You don't want to be nice to somebody who's being rude to you. And with that in mind, researchers have actually found that rudeness is contagious. So once you witness something rude happening, it kind of ruins your day and you're more likely to be rude to other people. So rudeness has far-reaching consequences. If we're not thinking about how other people might be impacted by the words that we say, by the actions that we're doing, this could have a really
seemed very right-wingy with some of the things that they're talking about. So I had to go and check. Yeah, they are right-leaning. That makes sense. They're always. And what do I say? Why was I curious on right-leaning? Because that's one of the things that a lot of right-wingers going. I'm not a left-winger. I don't believe in any of them. They're both lies that 2 idiot groups believe in. But 2 groups of idiots that believe in slightly different things. All right, they're just puppets for the same puppet master. And but it's Republicans that are always saying, a lot of baby boomers are always constantly thinking, these kids these days and this and that. So I was like, this got to be right-wing news, huh?
huge ripple effect.
Rudeness is contagious. That's definitely something to watch. So what do we do to fix it? Like what?
You don't. I like this. It says there's been a rudeness and lack of empathy crisis for years. I like this. It says it's funny how they blame the kids, but not the people who raised them. Children are ruder now because their parents are rude. They copy what we do. It's true. It says this probably has something to do with the declining quality of life. America is one of the unhappiest countries in the world. Absolutely. We're going to get into that. No healthcare, no high-speed rail, no places to socialize, no jobs. Absolutely. Absolutely. It says, yes, everyone's divided and no one trusts each other. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we're going to talk about. Is that one of the rudeness is that we don't trust people. Okay? Because we've grown up in a society where it's very easy to get fucked over. Okay? The whole, greeting your neighbors, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? Hey, did you want to come over? I don't want to come over. I don't know you. Why would you invite me over? For what? Okay? For what are you going to invite me over for? Okay? And people say, well, that's very distrusting. You should be very distrusting. You should never fucking trust them. That's how you end up getting chopped up and put in a fucking trash bag. All right? You shouldn't be, because these people are nuts, man. All right? You should never be that trusting. Okay? Why are you being like that? All right? For what reason? All right? Well, you guys are very distrusting. You should be distrusting. Okay? You don't know what I could do to you, and you don't know and I don't know what you could do to me. Okay? It says, we all feel it. No one cares about anyone else. It's ruthless. It says, refresh my memory, which political ideology said that empathy is a sign of weakness? Right wing, that's what they're talking about. It says, because it was the conservatives that said that. Let's see. It's not just kids, it's adults too. Stop putting it on one generation. I believe the decline started before COVID. It did. It did start before COVID. Boom. I love this. Boomers aren't setting the best example. I see them engaging in some of the worst behavior out of the community. Meanwhile, younger generations barely go out at all. On top of that, the social contract itself feels broken. Jobs treat people like numbers. Trust is eroded. Two-parent households are rare. Community bonds are fraying as young people are priced out of home ownership and people are stressed out and on the edge. Absolutely. So that's what's going to make people more aggravated and not want to deal with any bullshit. Their whole life is dealing with bullshit. They don't want to deal with it. And this person says entitlement and self-centeredness. And that's true. I'll agree with that. It's not so much as just a blanket term of rudeness. It's more so entitlement and self-centeredness that you see. But mind you, there's no one more entitled than the baby boomer. All right, what is the most entitled generation? I bet if you looked it up, what is the most entitled generation? All right. It's impossible to, well, you say it right here. Boomers are objectively the most selfish, entitled, and lazy generation. right? It surprisingly projected all those things onto every single other generation. Boomers are definitely the most entitled generation. If any generation is entitled, it's our parents and grandparents' generation, the baby boomers. Let's see. They say, are millennials more than an entitled generation? Millennials aren't an entitled generation. It's just millennials, you know, we grew up during every fucking major bullshit. The SARS outbreak of the 2000s, the housing market crash in the 2008. Before that, you know, the swine flu. Then we had to deal with, you know, three global pandemics. All right, we had to deal with COVID-19. Then we had to deal with so many, 9/11, right? We were definitely the generation that through our childhood was all grown up through tragedy, right? Every single one of them, every single one of us was that's all the things that happened in a millennial's lifetime. You know, the boomers had a little bit of a good time left, okay? The Gen X had a little bit of good time, all right, in the 80s and all that. We were, you know, born in the 90s. As we grew up, our childhood was already set up in fucking bullshit, right? And so yeah, no, we weren't. And then we'd never be able to own a home. So, you know, unless you know someone dies or we get an inheritance, then we can own a home. Yeah, that's gonna definitely make us more generally rude because we feel like we work for nothing. All right, you guys worked and you saw the rewards of what you got. We work and then it goes to taxes and then it goes to, you know, food because, you know, back in the day, yeah, you could get your hot dogs for a fucking nickel and a penny, huh? Yeah, no, they're like $4 or $5 fucking dollars now. All right. You say, well, yeah, you guys get paid more. Yeah, well, guess what? You guys, like, a hot dog was like a fucking 5 cents, all right, for a pack or whatever. All right, you guys got paid like, what, $3 an hour? Nowadays, you get paid $12 an hour, and hot dogs are five fucking dollars or $6 fucking dollars. And then all that, so that's half of your fucking pay for a pack of fucking hot dogs. You worked 30, 40 minutes for a pack of hot dogs. All right, that's not reward for your outcome. All right, and if you're working all this time and you're buying hot dogs, which is half your pay, you think you can save up for a car? You think you could save up for a home? No, you cannot save for any of those things. All right. So it says good behavior never goes out of style. It says there's a late stage capitalism crisis and we're all being pitted against each other. I mean, yeah, it is late stage capitalism. It really, in its form, is that the rich are inheriting all of the wealth. And, you know, remember it was supposed to trickle down. When did that ever happen? It didn't. All right, never happened. Trickle down economics never fucking worked. All right, they were never meant to work. It was really trickle up. Take all the money from the poor and give it to the rich. All right, an anti Robin Hood, right? So all that combined, yeah, that's gonna make people more aggressive. All right, when they have food insecurity and housing insecurity and job insecurity. All right, and then on top of that, you know, the people that these days are scandalous, they got to worry if their wife's out there cheating because now there's Tinder that she can show her asshole on for fun. All right, and OnlyFans, got to worry about that. And then you got to worry about Snapchat where the messages disappear. And then you got to worry about all these different fucking things. And yeah, no, and the women, they're going to leave because they want money too. And they don't want to deal with a struggling man. They much rather have a rich man. So if they can get someone that was born into privilege, they'll just leave you for that. And here it is, you're already struggling to make ends meet, and now your wife's leaving on top of that. So yeah, you're gonna have more aggressive, more rude people, and on top of that, with all the stress, you're gonna have more people that are gonna be trying to hit licks, all right, or what's the old saying? Jack move, trying to pull up on a jack move, all right. You're gonna have people trying to pull jack moves and shit, where they're gonna try to get money and shit. My motherfucker, give me all your money, all right? Oh shit, no, please no. You're gonna have more people doing that because, you know, society's been, Esau has it right where they want it to be, right? And we're in the end days, right? We are in the end days. So what do you think is going to be happening here? You know, we have people in uproar. Let's go and get that. Second address 9 and 3. It says, we got to go from 2. Well, yeah, we'll just go from 1. Second address 9 and 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. We have some of the signs coming up in Matthew 24 and 12 that we're going to get. So you got to look for the signs, all right? And we can see them. In verse 2, it says, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. With handshakes? No. With hugs? No. With kisses on the cheek? No. What's he going to visit it with? Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. What is an uproar? Okay, an uproar means what? A loud and impassionate noise or disturbance, turmoil, disorder, confusion, chaos, bedlam, havoc, all right, clamor, shouting, all right. The opposite would be calm, all right. So anger and turmoil and disorder and tumult, right, and clamor and just being pissed off, all right, and fighting and all wars and all these, right. When you see these things, right, and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. But a lot of people are too fucking stupid. Not that they're necessarily too fucking stupid, but that they don't have the Holy Spirit dealing with them, because the Lord's not dealing with them, because either they're not Israelites or they are Israelites and they're 2/3, right, and they haven't understood the scriptures. And the Bible never talks about, a political, battling. It doesn't say, it's not going to say the Democrats are going to rise up against the Republican, but it will say, I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian. All right. And that talks about, with wars with other Edomite nations as well. All right. It's not going to say Democrat or Republican. These people want it to be plain. All right. It's not going to say, thou shalt not be a homosexual. Thou shalt not put your penis over here. No, it's not going to say that. It says it pretty plainly. A man shall not lie with another man. Well, that really means what that really means. No, it says what it says. Okay. That's the problem. Even if it did say it right out and about, they'd say, no, well, see, what God meant was, no, they try to bend it, even if it did say that plainly, because the Bible plainly says what Yahushua looks like, and they say, no, it's talking white hair, it's white meaning pure, and that's what it means for that, and woolly hair, wool, it's just white like wool, because wool is white. Well, wool can also be brown, it can also be ruddy, it can also be, reddish brown, it can also be black, all right, so that, what about his feet? It said, what about the bread? Well, as if they burn in a furnace. When something's burning in a furnace, it's white. No, it doesn't say burning as if they were burning. It says as if they burn in a furnace. Well, if they burned, all right, something comes out dark. If it was burning, yeah, I'll give you that. When metal is burning, I used to work in a knife shop, all right, making knives and stuff like that, and I was mostly worked on the kydex and sheath end. And then I would do some profiling of blades and stuff like that, and getting them with the scales and stuff like that, which scales are what they basically call the handles. So yeah, I mean, I've seen, stuff like that. When they get hot and and whatnot, yeah. But that's completely different. When it cools down, it's not glowing white. All right. When it's heating up, yeah, it does get glowing. It goes from like that. A reddish tone to like orangish, and then after orangish it gets like a orangish white, and then it starts cooling down and it goes back down to the orange and the red, and then it goes down and it settles, and then you got the soot on it that you have to get off, depends on how you heat it up. Yeah, we've all seen we've seen forged in fire, all right, we know what it looks like, but it doesn't say burn. It didn't say burning in a furnace, it said burned. It happened, all right, so past tense. Burned in a furnace, not burning currently. So going off on that, because it's like, even if it did say it plainly, these people still wouldn't believe it, right? They try to say, if it said that, I don't know, I'm not gonna make anything up and try to add something to scripture, but if it said one thing, they're gonna try to say it. Here's an example. Let's see. The Lord says, how does it go? I've chose you of all the families of the earth. All right, let me go and get it. Right? Deuteronomy 7:6. Here's one that be, God loves everybody. Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people. You know what holy means? Separate. All right. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power. Thy Lord thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. No, everyone's equal. God loves everybody equally. No, he said Israel was his chosen people and that they were above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Well, what he meant? No, stop it. Stop it. Or it says, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. Well, what he meant, see, you guys, no, you'll never understand anything. Okay? You never get it. You never understand the scripture because it's not meant for you. You'll say, oh, well, no, he just loved Jacob so much that it seemed like he hated Esau in comparison. No. I'm not going to say, hey, man, I love steak. Man, I fucking hate chicken. Right? I'm not going to say that. All right? I'm not going to say that. Why? Because I like chicken, though, right? But I just like steak. So, no. I like chicken and I like steak. If I was going to say that, I would say that. When the Lord said, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated, it means he loved Jacob and he hated Esau. All right. There's plenty of scripture talks about his hating Esau. All right, and laying their mountains to waste. Okay, but no, nobody gets that. So you just don't get it. Okay, we're in the end days. You don't get the scripture, so you can't see it. All right, but we're in the end days. At the end of the day, no pun intended. At the end of the day, we're in these end days, and regardless if you see it or not, look, the train's gonna keep on moving. If you can't get on, you can get, left behind in the darkness, not understand what's going on. But if you want to be on that train of knowledge, then hey, you have to have a ticket, and if the Lord didn't give you one, you cannot get on. Okay, so 2 Timothy 3:1-5, it says this: know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. There's gonna be terrible times in the end, right? Whether it be people being more peril. All right, what is peril? All right, let's go and look that up. Peril or peril.
Peril.
All right, serious and immediate danger, risks, hazard, insecurities, problems, threats, menaces. Right? So yeah, there's gonna be lots of threats and menace and danger and all this stuff in the end days, and with that, you're gonna have people that just aren't so nice. Right? Why? Verse 2, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. Again, self-centered, all right? Entitled, not caring, all right? For men shall be lovers of their own selves. Right there, right? Covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedience to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection. There's the homosexuals. Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Oh, you're good? Fuck you. Fuck you guys. I see you all the time out here. Fuck you. You guys are racist. Fuck you. You guys are on these YouTube channels. Fuck you. These people, man. They're despisers of those that are good, right? Like it says all these things. They're covetous. They're disobedient to parents. They're unthankful. They're lovers of themselves. They don't care. They don't care, right? 4, traitors, heady, high-minded. What's high-minded? High-minded really is like a form of pride, right? Go and get that. High-minded. What does that mean? Okay. High-minded, someone that possesses strong moral principle. No, they turn it into a good thing. High-minded means you think you're better than everybody. Okay, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Where were we? That's not how it's supposed to be. High-minded. Okay, as a matter of fact, show you what high-minded means since they want to give you a fucking stupid definition. Here it is. Typho, or typho. All right, this is in the Bible, the Blue Letter Bible. What does it mean? High-minded.
Strong.
Come on.
Strong's G 5187. Tufao.
Tufao. All right, number 2 here. To blind with pride or conceit, to render foolish or stupid. Right? To be lifted up with pride. To be lifted up with pride. Okay, that's how these people are these days. They're lifted up with pride. Okay? Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. Jake's wicked, right? Jake's wicked now. All right? So you can't say, oh, it's just Esau or Jake. No, everyone's wicked, man. Everyone's wicked. These Jakes are acting just like Esau to begin with, right? So Matthew 24:12, a book of future prophecies to come, all right, that Yahushua laid out to his disciples. Right here says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. People aren't going to care about you. They're not going to care if you make it back home to your family. They don't give a shit. All right, and this is, in like I will give them the benefit of the doubt with what the reporter said. It is kind of a contagious thing, because if someone doesn't give a shit about me, why am I going to give a shit about them? Okay, that doesn't make much sense, does it? If someone's gonna say, I'm gonna harm you, fuck you, if I can see you, I'm gonna hit a lick on you, I'm gonna rob you, I'm gonna stab you, why am I gonna ever try to be nice to that person? Fuck them. Okay? And there's a lot of people that are out like that, all right? And they're gonna treat you some type of way, and you're gonna be treated them some type of way, and you're just not gonna like each other. That's why people aren't, hey neighbor, how are you doing? You go out, you get your groceries, you come back home, because this fucking place sucks, all right? This place sucks. America specifically. The whole world is bad, but not really as bad as America. There's other places out there in Europe and other places where you can go and people will still be nice, are more likely to help their neighbor. All right, not England, because England's fucking going through the roughness as well. All right, but there's other places out there, Sweden and Finland. They top some of the highest happiness rates All right, as far as citizens go. All right, on their own things that they write. So they claim that they're pretty happy, right? America routinely reaches on the bottom. Okay, why? Because this place, you go out, you got to worry about someone trying to rob you or stab you or shoot you, or if you call the police, they might fucking shoot you. All right, and get the wrong person and shoot you instead. All right, you got to worry about, oh, something's wrong in my car, because then you're going to get a fine. They'll impound your vehicle. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of robbery, all right? It's all full of lies and robbery, as the scriptures say, all right? This place is all full of lies and robbery. So you can't, did you know your headlight was out? My headlight's not out. You go, well, you gonna argue, or are you just going to, I might have hit a bump and it might have jiggled it or something, but no, it works. Okay, well, just because you're arguing with me, all right, well, okay, I don't mean to argue. I thought it worked. I saw it, And, okay, well, here's $500 fine. They'll do, now, and it sucks because now you can't even do that. Really, if they say, oh, your headlight's out, that headlight, you could see it in your rear view mirror on. You'll say, okay, officer, I'm sorry, my bad. You would just take your fine and go, because if not, then he might just shoot you. He might just smash it out. He might try to look for something else to get you on where, oh, it's not? Okay, well, guess what? This window looks a little dark here. Is that a legal tint on there? So just fucking make do with it, right? You got to realize these people are like centurions. All right, they are Roman centurions. Okay, they work for Caesar, and if they want there to be a problem, they will make a problem regardless if there is one. Take the fine and move along. Okay, don't try to argue with the police. Okay, as much as it sucks, just don't do it, because they'll make you a problem. My headlight's not out. Psh. Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, you could just smash it fucking out. Yeah, now it's out. 2nd Esdras 5:9, it says, and salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. And we're coming into this time, man. Wit, meaning this truth, this gospel, it's going to withdraw itself into a secret chamber. All right, the Lord's going to have it, vanish from the streets. All right, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see anybody on the highways and byways. You're not going to see anybody on the on YouTube. All right, you're not going to see it. Verse 10, it says, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. So there you go, unrighteousness and incontinency. All right, so, and people are going to be looking for it, and they're not going to find this truth. So that's in there. All right, but the real reason I got this was talking about friends shall destroy one another. So it's going to get to the point where friends are destroying one another. All right, yeah, man, you already got people doing that. All right, you already got people doing that in the hood, at least. Right? What do they call it? Not a rug pull. What do they call it? Getting I can't remember. All right, but backdoored. All right, getting backdoored. So you have people getting backdoored and shit. All right, yeah, man, I got you. Yeah. Hey, man, I got you. Yeah, go give me all your money. I thought we were cool. Yeah, you thought we were cool. We thought we ain't never been cool, man. Run that shit. Oh, okay. All right. It's going to get to the days where actually real good friends that were actually real friends are actually going to do that shit to each other. All right, because of food insecurity and other things, man. They need to eat. And, hey, James, come over here real quick. What is that on the floor? And they're going to whack you over the head with a hammer. All right, take your house keys, go to your house, kill your wife, kill your kids, and take those fucking Cheetos out the pantry, all right, and smack on them, all right? Because that's, they don't have no food. So Jeremiah 9:4 through 5. How long have we been going? 43 minutes. I thought it was like 20 to 30. All right. Jeremiah 9:4 says, take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not any brother. So really, the Bible is telling us to not be so trustworthy. All right. We shouldn't be trustworthy. You brothers and sisters, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't trust someone out there. Fuck no, you shouldn't trust someone. Hell no. For every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders. You trust someone, they're going to be the same one that is going to be, those are the same people that are talking shit behind your back. Okay. You can't trust no one. Okay. So even you hear the elders and apostles say of Great Millstone. All right. Which I'm not a part of a Great Millstone, but I teach the same thing to the best of my ability. So I'd be considered an affiliate. I recommend that's where you stay if you want to actually learn. All right. Not just want theatrics. If you want theatrics, there's a camp called IUIC. If you want theatrics, I'm sure they'll be more than willing to accept you. But, it's GMS and affiliates. All right, that's where you're going to get the truth. So, because the affiliates of GMS learn from GMS, hence why they're affiliates. But even the apostles say, look, you can't even trust every so-called brother that you think is in this truth, okay, or sister, right? Because they call themselves a Hebrew Israelite. You can't just go, oh, you're a Hebrew Israelite, I trust you indefinitely. There's a lot of people that end up bugging out, or they're doing sneaky shit behind the scenes. You can't just trust everyone. You got to be you really got to maintain a rapport with someone who you have trust with. And even then, you got to, you can never give anybody 100% trust. The only one that you can give 100% trust is Yahweh Shemiah Shai. Okay, anybody else, there's always that 1%. What if? Right? So, you don't know. And you might have someone you really trust. I'm not saying brothers or anyone, but just in general, you might have someone that you think you really trust. You don't know how these people are going to act in the end days, man. You think these people are the nicest people in the world, but people act really different when when their stomach starts growling. All right, they start acting a lot different than you'd think, right? So verse 5, it says, and they will deceive every one his neighbor and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies and weary themselves to commit iniquity. And I'm not going to get the Good News Translation because they do something, and all relatives are deceitful as Jacob. You can tell Edomite wrote that. What Jacob did wasn't necessarily deceit, okay? It might have been guile. All right?
Guile.
All right? Sly or cunning intelligence. All right? Or stratagem. All right? Or you see deception, trick or a ruse. Kind of, but it's not the biblical definition of what deceit is, because the Lord had that happen because Esau was never supposed to get that blessing. So I'm not going to read the Good News Translation just because I don't like how it says that, but I will get the NLV or the NLT. It says, let everyone watch his neighbor. Do not trust any brother, because every brother sets traps and every neighbor goes about hurting people with his talk. Everyone fools his neighbor and does not tell the truth. They have taught their tongue to tell lies. They become tired of doing so many sins. Let's get the NLT. It says, beware of your neighbor. Don't even trust your brother, for brother takes advantage of brother and friend slanders friend. They all fool and defraud each other. No one tells the truth. With practiced tongues they tell lies. They wear themselves out with all their sinning. This is the best one. Of course, the King James Version is the best one. But the other translation, this is the best one, the closest to the original script. So yeah, man, you can't trust no one. Okay, so is there a rudeness crisis? Yeah, but that's because no one can be trusted. All right, you say, hey man, I'm gonna trust you to do this. Don't fuck me on this, right? And then that person fucks you on. I say, hey dude, what the fuck? I told you not to do that. God damn it, right? I let you in here. I let you slip past when you weren't even supposed to be in here. I told you to be on your best behavior, and you went and acted a fucking fool now, man. So what the fuck, right? Or however, certain situations, everyone's been through them, where they, trusted someone to be some type of way, and they ended up betraying that trust. So you just be very careful, man. And that's why there's rudeness. There's a lot of distrustful people, because we have to be. None of us can trust any of us, all right? We have more trust within, with the brothers, all right, and sisters, but with you people out in the world, hey man, there's a lot of distrust. You don't know what, you guys are crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're rude because, and half the time I can't even blame you for the rudeness, right? Because someone, you try to be nice to someone, I've tried to be nice, and what do I get back? Rudeness, okay? So I'm not going to be purposely rude, but will I engage in things that are considered rude? Probably, all right? Like I said, not saying excuse me is one of them that I do routinely, because again, when I say excuse me, they fucking pop an attitude. I don't want an attitude. I'm trying to have the least amount of conflict as possible, all right, in my walk. So if I can squeeze by you and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get right by you, and that's mostly what I say. I don't say excuse me. If anything, I'll say, oh, I'm gonna get right by you real quick, my bad, and I'll try to slide past them if they're really in the way, and they seem to not mind that as much. But if you say excuse me, you might as well just slap them and call their mama a hoe, right? Because excuse you, you're excused. I was like, fuck, all right, fuck you then. Never mind, I'm gonna bump into your ass next time. Not really, but those ninja thoughts that go through your mind. It's like, fuck, I said excuse me to be nice, and now you're over here being rude because I said excuse me. So fuck you, I ain't gonna say excuse me. I'm gonna walk right by your ass. Stay in the fucking way then. I don't give a fuck. Right? That's how rudeness starts. All right, because you got a few entitled people, or some people that are just assholes. You just got some assholes out there. They're just assholes. And then you take those people that are nice, and they say, oh, excuse me, you're excused. And you say, oh, what? All right, well, my bad. And then that keeps on happening. You're like, fuck it, I ain't gonna say excuse me anymore. All right, fuck them. All right, I'm gonna just squeeze by him. If I have to say anything, I'll say, "Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna get by." Not excuse me, but, "Oh, I'm gonna get right by you. My bad." Excuse me, I'm gonna get by you. Sometimes I say it anyway. You can see people look like, yeah, excuse me. That's why I said excuse me. Okay, because you got your big fucking fat lard fucking peanut butter fucking fried dough ass McDonald's eating fucking lard fucking ass hanging out in the goddamn aisle. All right, and you didn't move your fucking cart. So yes, excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, and these people, "Oh, excuse you." Yes, excuse me, please. Excuse me. And it's not like I'm saying, "Excuse me." I'm saying, oh, excuse me, I'm gonna get right by you. And they'll fucking yank their cart and look at you like you just called them a whore or something. It's like, fuck, you know what? Fuck off then. Be an asshole. So yeah, when you have behavior like that, people are gonna get sick of that behavior, and they're gonna be more seemingly rude as well. Okay, but if someone said excuse me, I'm not gonna be rude to them. All right, I understand what it means. Excuse me. Depends on how they say it. If they said, excuse me, and then yeah, I'm gonna probably give them a look and then step back. I'm like, all right, fucking, I ain't gonna say nothing, all right, just out of being circumspect, but my face will probably show something. But yeah, man. So is there a rudeness crisis in Babylon? Probably. Yeah. I mean, there's been a rudeness crisis. People have been rude here forever. Okay. So, but that's because, and it's gonna get more rude and more violent because nobody trusts each other because we can't. All right, we shouldn't. Even the Bible warns us to trust in everybody because the people that you put your trust in are the same people that'll switch up on you, man. So you just gotta watch out, be safe out there. Be nice as you can, but you know, it's being rude or not. Remember, nice means foolish. Okay, so you can be as courteous as you can possibly be. All right, but a lot of the time, you know, people just take that for granted, or you know, you just gotta move as nicely as. I don't want to say nice. Move as courteously as possible, but don't be surprised if you say, "Oh, excuse me. Oh, can I get right by you?" And they say, "Yeah, go ahead." And they like pull their cart and they get all mad at you. Just don't be surprised. That's how these people are. So that's it. All right, we're gonna close out there. Lord willing, there was some edification. All right, to have from this lesson. Yeah, man, that's just how it's gonna be in Babylon. So I'm gonna close out there. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Kakadash. I want to say shalom to your brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of this place. We almost don't have to deal with this shit anymore. So keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.